Hi guys, this is Jane Celia with the Star Shamanic Healer. I'm also a targeted individual. Um, and I haven't done a video in a year, and now I've done like 3 today. So what helped me is I decided to take the spiritual route instead of the journalistic. I'm also a journalist. But my expertise right now is definitely in the spiritual realm. And I also believe it's an extremely important part for us to address as targets and everybody else right now, because everything starts on the spirit level. Nothing exists on this planet unless it's first a thought. So how we address it on the spiritual level is really important too. And I wanted to start with smudging, and I use white sage. It's really one of my favorite herbs, and it will clear, negative energy you've picked up, and we all pick up a lot of that as targets. It also can clear like flu, viruses, and bacteria that might be in your energy field. So I'm just calling on my guides to heal and clear anyone that might be watching this. And also use my sage. So I have a candle here of Jesus. And I'm not a Christian per se, but I feel like I lived at the time of Jesus. I can't say I knew him personally, but I feel like I was alive during that time. I think it's one reason I have the name Bethesda. It was the name of one of the pools that Jesus used to heal in. It was Bethesda. And it was a name that was given to me by angels. It was whispered in my ear. So I think I entitled this, at least at one point, was Jesus a shaman? And the quick answer is I think everybody is. It's not this esoteric, otherworldly thing that we've come to believe. At one point, everyone on the planet, all humans, had shamanic powers. We as humans are we are the God energy. We are gods and goddesses, just like the rays of sun or the sun. We have that power. And it's one reason that some of us are being targeted more than others, is we're expressing that God energy more than anybody else, which means we care about humanity. We can't be corrupted. We express love. We extend friendship. So we are gods and goddesses, and we came from the stars. Our bodies are made up of all the debris when the stars burst. We are literally made of the stars, and I believe our souls came from all the different star systems. So we're made of stars, and we embrace the god or the goddess within us. And I think Jesus was an ascended master who came here to teach forgiveness and love, and take the place that war hasn't been endless, that we can choose a different path, and a lot of us are. And back to the shaman piece, I did a master's thesis on shamanism for Lesley University, and in my research I learned that there's evidence of shamans on every point of the earth, almost at one point or another in time, which means we all have shamanic ancestors. And what that means is that in the past, we were all much more connected to the earth, and we were able to speak to the animals and the trees and the flowers, and we can still do that. That's just a normal part of being human. And this invader species, which I won't go into, which I now call the Illuminati, and I have a lot of other names for them too, have tried to disconnect us from that power. And it is a huge power. If you can go to the earth, if you can go to trees, if you can go to the river, if you can go to mountains, and you can ally the spirits, the good and loving spirits, to protect you, to guide you, even the birds. And they call that now shamanic if you talk to the trees and the birds, but that's just being human. And yes, I believe Jesus was a shaman, because he had those powers and much more. And he absolutely said, as I do, so can you do. And I'm probably misquoting that. So yes, I believe he was, but he was that and much more, as we are. And In some of my other videos, I started to share some of the shamanic work you can do to protect yourself, maybe to go into your past. You can travel into your past, and that's a little bit more advanced, to understand how this started with you, what sort of contract you might have made for torture. Um, maybe we were all Christian martyrs. I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder, because I believe on some level we have free will, and some level I chose this. So the other piece that I wanted to talk about, in addition to all of you knowing that you can rally the spirits of nature, and most of them are loving and compassionate and are here to help us. Um, to, I have some Christian friends, and I've watched some Christian videos of Christians who are targeted, and very, very, very sweet people for the most part, and kind. But they do believe, at least, one or two, that we are meant to be tortured, like Christ wanted us to be tortured, that it'll make us stronger. I think that's a real distortion of Christ's message. I think from what I learned as a child in Christian Science, and what I still believe, is that God is love, Jesus is love. They want us to be prosperous, to be healthy, to have love, to have security. And the last thing that God or Goddess wants is for us to be tortured. And I don't understand that. I do know that adversity can make you stronger, but at a certain point, it's no longer adversity. It's they're trying to kill you, and I don't believe that our death is going to help ourselves, the planet, the future. That's what they want you to do, to just be hung on the cross and die and go away, because that means more food for them, more air, more everything, and less humans. So I honestly believe, and I have seen in shamanic journeys, that some of our torturers are not human. Some of them are human and possessed. Some of them are human who are psychopaths. But and the good news is, even though they have a lot of power, we have many, many, many more people who are good and loving and kind and want to help. So I don't believe that we need to be tortured anymore. And I think that can stop once all of us take our power, not take it and not just die, but take our power, our God power. And, I think people that are making YouTube videos are embracing their God self and their power. A lot of people that are, speaking out and going to the rallies, and anybody that's a truth teller right now is going to change the world. Yeah, and even in the Bible, it was very distorted. If you read the Gnostic Gospels, which is Christ's original teachings, there is nothing in there about torture, and you should, be hung on the cross. In fact, there's a lot of belief that Christ did not die on the cross. He recovered, and he went on to live a long and fruitful life, and lived till he was 120 in India. And I doubt very much he at this point is very happy with the concept that we're supposed to be tortured. I don't think we are. I don't know if we made a soul contract or what, but I think if once we realize what's happening, I think we need to take steps to change it. And I think part of that is embracing the powers of your own shamanic self, and asking, learning about power animals and how they're all around you and they want to protect you, learning about the loving ancestors and how they want to protect you. The angels, the ascended masters. We weren't thrown here alone. We have enormous power, but they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that it's a sin if you use a flower essence. It's a sin if you do Reiki. It's a sin if you use shamanism. And they're all just natural extensions of being human. So I'm encouraging all targets to reconnect to the earth, the mother, because there's an enormous amount of love. There's an enormous amount of resources, protection. um, and longevity. And, I know if you're a Christian, you're very afraid you're not supposed to talk to trees because, I don't know why, because trees are God. I mean, everything that's love is God. There's not much separation. And I don't say you have to go out and talk to a tree, but sit beside a tree. And even if you just ask for love or protection, um, that's being shamanic, but it's also just being human. And I think Jesus would like us to use every resource we have to reclaim this planet, reclaim our lives, be channels for joy and love, and return to the Garden of Eden, because we did live on a paradise earth at one point in time. There was no war, there was no torture, there was no slavery. Those are all satanic. And you and I and many others are fighting back. And I'm just saying, this is one way you can do it, is to embrace Mother Earth and all the gifts everywhere you look. Flowers have medicine, birds, bears, even the spirit of them. You don't have to be around a bear. You can call on that spirit. So yes, I think that Jesus was a shaman and much, much more. And I think you all are, and much, much more. We have been brainwashed. We have been brainwashed to believe we are just these slaves that should not connect to Mother Earth and all our bounty and abundance. But we are not. We are the gods and the goddesses of the past. And we're back. So I believe this time around we're going to defeat them. I know it's been a battle for hundreds of years, thousands of years, but I think we can do it this time. But I don't think we're meant to throw ourselves on the cross and die again. So lots of love. If you like this, like it. I'm just getting going because I think I just decided recently I'm going to go the spiritual path. Like I said, I was a journalist. In fact, that's how I got targeted. It was revealing corruption at a shipyard in Bath, Maine. It was one of the number one ship suppliers for the United States Navy. So I messed around with the Navy. And I also was writing a lot of stories about supporting the anti-nuke movement in Maine in the 1990s. So that's how I got on the FBI hit list. I was a whistleblower and a journalist activist. So yeah. Anyway, I believe now that the spiritual aspect for me is the part I want to share, and it's the most powerful. So lots of love to you guys, and I'll be on regularly. Blessings.